Welcome to Ring the Damn Bell. My name, of course, is KG, and as always, my co-host, the wrestling enthusiast Mark. And tonight we're doing the recap of Wednesday night Dynamite. Real quick, only one item news-wise. So apparently, Leo Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez on Tuesday attacked Rhea Ripley, and this spot was done in order to write Rhea Ripley off the show because at some point last week, um, she was injured, and it was a legit injury. Uh, it is, let's see, she fractured her orbital bone, which is in your eye socket here. So that's a it's a pretty bad injury. There's no telling how long she will be off of television at this time. Man, Rhea, she's been having some bad luck, and it's a shame because right now I feel like this is when she's hot, and depending on how long she's off television, she can kind of lose some of that momentum that she has going on right now.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, let's get into it. There's a lot to talk about with last night's Dynamite. As far as the show goes, I'll give it a C plus. There's a lot that happened on there, but I have a couple of issues with some things, and we'll get into it. So, why don't you let's start our recap there, Mark.
All right. So it came from Cleveland, Ohio. OHIO. Sorry, I had to do it. They gave an intro to the Fright Night. BBC coming into the arena. Orange Cassidy comes down to the ring talking about he's no leader, how he needs AEW. John Moxley doesn't. He then challenges Moxley for the world title. And that pretty much wraps that up.
Yeah. So this is the thing. I like Orange Cassidy's gimmick. Don't get me wrong. But for a moment, I thought that we would see something different, something new with Orange Cassidy, right? I thought maybe he would have a little bit of a character change, if any, but once he pretty much got done speaking, he kind of went right back into his gimmick. I think that there is a side of Orange Cassidy that hasn't been tapped into yet. And I think that it's time for them to expand on his character and his gimmick.
You're talking a heel turn?
Not a heel turn, but more of someone who's maybe a little bit aggressive, not so laid back because of everything that's happening right now, with the BCC and John Moxley and the attacks. Because look, when he came to the ring, that's kind of what he led the audience to believe, that he was going to be a little bit more aggressive, not so laid back. We were going to see a different side of Orange Cassidy. But again, as soon as he laid that challenge out, he went right back to the same old Orange Cassidy. And I want to see something different from him at this point.
I think you're going to see a little bit more aggressiveness. So, um, time will tell as always. So,
Yeah.
all right. So next we go to, I think, backstage with Monet and Camille. It was a quick good luck, I think, with Renee. Then we go to Adam Cole comes to the ring versus Buddy Matthews. Um, I think he's working this ankle injury. I don't know if it's still a legit problem or concern. But Adam leaves the match. Buddy calls him weak and a bitch. Adam Cole comes back. Adam Cole, two Canadian destroyers and a pin. One Canadian destroyer outside the ring.
Yeah, this match, it was a decent match. Did you notice, man, that Adam Cole doesn't seem like he is in the best shape he's ever been into? I mean, he's not, overweight by any means, but at the same time, he has very little muscle mass.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen him this small before. I know he's a smaller guy, but he used to be, some muscle mass showing. And man, it just wasn't there. And then you put him in a ring with Buddy Matthews, and it just
It looks like
really
the guy
showed.
next door.
Yeah. Um, this is what bothers me about that. Was after the match is over, Buddy Matthews shakes his hand. Then, of course, the lights go out, comes back on, and then there is a Malachi Black, right? And of course, we learn later that Adam Cole is going to be facing Malachi Black in order for him to do the 3 wins in order to face MJF. My problem with that is, once again, we're going to see Malachi Black get pinned. These guys, the House of Black, is being booked badly. These guys are constantly taking loss. They are enhanced talents at this point in many ways. And that bothers me because these guys should just be beating the shit out of everybody right now.
Malachi Black is a premium performer. For him jobbing to anybody is almost a crying shame.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what the issue is, but I mean, just the House of Black in general shouldn't be jobbing to anybody. Um, in theoretically, Buddy Matthews should have kicked the shit out of Adam Cole last night and should have
Absolutely,
pinned him.
absolutely. I think Buddy Matthews is another premium performer that they're just burning up.
Yeah,
So in retrospect, I hope he's getting a fat check for jobbing.
yeah, I do too.
All right. So next we go to Christopher Daniels talking to Private Party, giving him some advice, saying he was in that same position at one time and it didn't work out for him. Then we go back to Adam Cole with Undisputed Kingdom. Adam swears he will get his hands on MGF. Again, it gets to the point where, we don't need to see the same people 3, 4 times a night. I'm
Well,
sorry.
let's stop right there. Let's go back to that match. Is it me, or has Adam Cole lost a lot of the following that he had because the crowd was clearly behind Buddy Matthews last night?
When you take that much time off for an injury, yeah, you lose a lot of momentum. And the fact that he got injured right during that whole MGF swerve, that did nothing for his career. Absolutely
But
nothing.
but this is the thing. When he came back a couple of weeks ago, he got a pretty good pop, right? I think what the problem is that the crowd is kind of like how I am. It's like, come on, how many same storylines are we going to see with anyone involved with MJF? You got to beat so many people before you face me. I mean, it's the same storyline, just different face. And I think the crowd just isn't behind this. And this is why they may be booing. It's not necessarily aimed at Adam Cole. It's more aimed at this is just dumb shit. So
Well, see,
just my 2 cents.
I talked about this like 2 weeks ago. It should have been pinning 3 of the Undisputed Kingdom. At the very least, throw in their Kyle O'Reilly because Kyle O'Reilly was their buddy too.
Right.
Or bring back
Right.
Bobby Fish. You know, um,
Yeah.
and you could pin the 2, Mike and Taven, but then eventually it gets down to Roderick Strong versus Adam Cole, and I think that'd be that's almost a pay-per-view main
Right.
event. Well, not a main
Right.
event, but a pay-per-view caliber match.
Right.
I think that would have gone a hell of a lot better for the storyline if they would have done that. So Tony Khan, listen up, buddy. It would have been better that way.
Yeah. And speaking of, Kyle O'Reilly, you notice he was backstage watching the match on the monitor. So obviously something is going to happen where he's going to get involved in this. I'm predicting right now that at their next pay-per-view, when Adam Cole is facing MJF, that Undisputed Era is going to turn on Adam Cole. And it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly to come in to save Adam Cole. That's my prediction.
Well, so far our predictions haven't been that great, but our storyline telling is far better at this point.
Right, right.
All right, so next we go to Kyle Fletcher calls out Will Ospreay. Mark Davis, his former tag team partner, comes out instead. Kyle tells him at one point, you will need to make a decision soon. And Kyle pretty much said, you can obviously see I don't have any problem with cutting ties to my past.
Right.
Now, Mark Davis looked really good as far as physical appearance. He looked like he dropped a little weight, maybe picked up a little muscle mass, but it definitely looked like he dropped a little weight.
Yeah, this is a match I would look forward to watching. Kyle versus
Mark Davis.
Yeah. Well, Mark Davis versus what's his face? That's in the faction. God, just shaved his head.
Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah, Kyle Fletcher. Jesus, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis. I would like to see in a match. I think that would be a really good match between the two. That's something that I would look forward to.
I'd like to see Mark Davis win that because Kyle Fletcher, at this point, he could take the loss and still walk away.
It's not going to happen though because this match is going to happen before him and Will Ospreay goes into the ring, and there's no way that they're going to give Kyle Fletcher that loss right now.
Oh, really? Because I really think Fletcher could walk away with it without really hurting his reputation, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah, I know. They don't do anything we say, dumbasses. All right, next we go to Renee interview and Hangman match at next pay-per-view with Jay White. Jay White offers redemption, which I'm kind of at a loss of what that's all about, but whatever. I like Adam Page. I really do. I don't know if he's world title status, and I don't know if he ever was, to be honest. But I like him. I like him when he's chasing the title. But I really don't understand where this is going.
Yeah, and the thing is that I really don't care. I'm not into the storyline. It just doesn't interest me in any way. And I like both Jay White in the ring, and I also like Hangman Adam Page. But this storyline is just, it doesn't have me interested or intrigued, nor do I care.
Well, you're a picky bastard, so.
A little bit.
All right, so next we got BBC comes to the ring. Mox says he challenged Cassidy. Then they turn on Yuta Wheeler. Then Wheeler joins in when Cassidy comes out to save Wheeler. Dark Order comes out to help Cassidy. There's an ensuing beatdown, and then pretty much the whole locker room comes out, and BBC runs out.
No, you missed a big part of this.
Oh, that's right. Darby Allin comes down Sting style.
So
out. After ring clears, the Young Bucks come to the ring.
That leads to the next match, and this is the thing. Let's go back to this for a second. One, let me the positive. What I liked, I liked when they used Wheeler. Well, it looked like they turned on Wheeler, but they used him to have as a pawn to have this guy come out, and then of course Cassidy gets his ass kicked. And then, of course, Darby Allin in his pink coat comes down Sting style. This is when I text you and said, fucking tell me that this is not a redo of the fucking NWO. And I get what you said, how a lot of these kids, I watch this now, they've never even, some of them not even heard of the NWO. But look, with the WWE library, where they can go back and watch all of this shit from 30 years ago, right? And even if they've never heard of the NWO, the fact that Khan or whoever's writing this storyline is not even trying to be original in any fucking way is driving me nuts. This was to the fucking T NWO shit that's happened 30 years ago. I officially do not like this dumbass fucking storyline now. Just because of this. Something needs to happen for them to draw me back into the storyline. Like they need to have an oh shit moment. Fucking McMahon walks out. Somebody needs to walk out. That's like holy shit, right? My dog's going nuts because of the trick or treaters.
But he doesn't like it either.
No, no. But yeah, it's just it's frustrating. It is.
Well, I think, and again, we can call it all day long, and we can give them the storylines, but they never listen to us. I think it's a possibility to something like that happening. I don't know who it would be. I don't know uh, what it could be, but I think they possibly, if they're smart, they're building into something like that where you get a holy shit moment. As far as Darby copying Sting, you know, I I'm not gonna let that kind of shit bother me. But yeah, it is kind of foolish, especially with a pink jacket. And I guess if it was me after what happened to Owen Hart, it'd be a cold day in hell before I'd zip line down.
Yeah, I agree. And the pink jacket didn't bother me too much. It's the fact that how they're repeating the story. And then on top of it, they didn't even do it that well. Did you see the part when Darby Allin was still connected because he couldn't get it disconnected and he kind of tripped over it and he went over like to the bell time over that wall, the barrier to the bell keeper? It was just done poorly. It was. So, if you're going to fucking copy a storyline to the exact storyline, at least fucking do it as well or even better.
Come on now, he didn't produce a bat, so it wasn't exactly.
The bat's coming, I guarantee you.
I'm dying. I'm dying. All right. So, anyways, we go to the Young Bucks come out. Where am I? Where am I?
Yeah, the Young Bucks versus Private
Private
Party.
Party.
This was a good match. And look, I tell you, I was a little shocked. I was not expecting the Young Bucks to drop the title to the Private Party. I thought for sure that we would be seeing the last of the Private Party, especially the spot where Isaiah got hit with the bell. Yeah, so they swerved me a little bit. They dropped the titles. But what was really interesting and almost even predictable at that point was the handshake by the Young Bucks to Private Party. And the reason why they did this, I guarantee you that they're going to have the Young Bucks as the saviors of this whole BCC taking over AEW bullshit.
Possibly. Now, I have a different view on this match because there was a lot of high spots and a lot of finishing moves that were kicked out of. We're talking Canadian Destroyers, we're talking their EVP kicks, and these guys kicked out of everything. There was no selling, and not that I'm a huge fan of, whether you sell well or not. I get lost in the match and I don't really nitpick it. But, when you're using 3 or 4 different finishing moves and they're kicking out of it, that kind of kills. 1 or 2, but 3 or 4. Come on.
Yeah, well, this is where I had a problem with. The Rainmaker Okada came out, and a Tombstone Power Driver was done on Private or one of the guys' Private Party. I can't remember which one it was, and it was way back near the
Entrance.
near the entrance, right? A fucking tombstone on concrete, and the guy's out until he needs to come back in, and of course, right at the exact time. Look, if you're going to do that, where you want to injure the guy and he's able to come back in, do another move on the a suplex, something, DDTs, fucking tombstone power drivers, moves that have been made, who were created by legends, that if any of these moves were put on people, that'd be the end of the match, much less on concrete. That kind of bothered me a little bit. And then on top of it, he was able to, as soon as when he eventually got back to the ring, it was like he was able to shake it off and nothing was wrong with him. So it was little things like that kind of got on my nerves. But Look, I am happy to see the belts on Private Party. They deserve it. Um, Now it's what they're going to do with it. How is AEW going to book them? Are they just going to be placeholders, or are they going to have a decent run?
I'm betting placeholders, but who knows? I mean, I think you'll see them defend the belts more frequent than the Young Bucks, you
Mhm.
know. And I don't know if it's a contractual thing or just the way things worked out or whatever. But I think you'll see Private Party be more of a, for lack of term, fighting champions.
Right.
So next we go with Renee backstage with Jamie Hayter and Penelope Ford on their upcoming match.
Do we
So,
say the AEW Becky Lynch,
who a
Jamie
Hayter,
Hayter? Yeah, the AEW. She reminds me of Becky Lynch.
but she ain't got.
Um, or should we say Thelma from Scooby Doo? Because that's what she looked like. I'm hoping that it was just her costume, with the clothes she was wearing, because she looked just like Thelma from Scooby Doo last night.
I'll have to revisit that. I guess I didn't look too hard.
Even
Uh,
my wife glanced up and said so.
I know she's actually her ring attire is a little bit more conservative than what it's been in the past.
She's right.
You
Yep.
know, before she'd have half her butt hanging out. Now it's a little bit more covered up.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
so all right. So let me go to a brief recap on Swerve and Benjamin, Shelton Benjamin. Then a recap of Jericho Briscoe match last week and the Learn Tree at ringside. Claims he will bring Ring of Honor to new heights. Chris Jericho did.
Yeah.
All right.
Same old. I don't care. Fuck. Look, Jericho's a legend. Don't get me wrong. But at this point, I'm just bored with him. And this god awful thing that he's doing with the learning tree. Just
Yeah.
I want it to be done. It's
So,
terrible.
you know what? It's this stupid gimmick that people are going to remember because they hate it so much. You know, it, it
Ellie.
it's actually going to supersede the list. It really
Yeah,
will. Which is a shame because the list was
it was great.
pure gold. All
Right.
right. So then we go to an Anna J vignette about her saying, they said I wasn't ready. Now I'm ready. And, so, to be honest, I look for her to take the belt. I don't know when, but I do look for her to take the belt. I see them building her up, but I don't see her being a long reigning champion either. You know,
No,
Thunder, once Thunder Rosa
they
gets back and Sky Blue gets back and
but this is the thing. They have incredible talent in the women's division. But because of just how poorly it's booked and how poorly the storylines are, it just makes me not care. It really does. And it's sad because they have some incredible women, on that roster. They really do. But it just nothing's interesting when it comes to the women's storylines. And that is out of everything that needs to be in, there's a lot of things that needs to be improved in AEW. Don't get me wrong. But if there's one thing that they should really be focusing on, that's that women's division.
yeah, you know what? I'd almost say their women's division can rival easily NXT. Other than the fact that NXT's got probably double the women, and
Right.
I'd almost run them with Raw or SmackDown. I think they got that high quality
Yeah.
of of women. If
Yeah.
they utilize them right. But
Yep.
women matches are hard to market. I'm not going to sit
Yep.
there. You know, especially when they spent 20 years ago in bra and panties. It's hard to get that legitimacy, I guess. You
Mhm.
know, because someone still remember the bra and panty matches and the pillow fight matches and the lingerie matches and stripped out whoever's down to their underwear first loses. I
Yeah,
mean,
I get that, Mark, but we're not talking about the same women that was doing that back then. The women on the roster in AEW are, I mean, amazing talents. We're talking about women who wrestled in New Japan, who were just tearing it up there, right? And all these other indie wrestling promotions just tearing it up. And they get to AEW, and because of the poor storylines that is done, it makes you not interested. The one storyline that was somewhat interesting was the one with Tony Storm, and yeah, and but you know what made the difference? What made the difference was the fact of this was a slow burn storyline. It gave you enough time to get invested in it, right? They don't do this. They have a problem doing it with the men, but they really don't do it with the women, and that is just a terrible injustice being done to again the amazing female wrestlers that they have at AEW.
Yeah, but the thing that really made that work was the swerve when Mariah May turned on Tony. You didn't expect it. You know, she just dropped her
Right.
like a bad habit and then made her bleed. You did not expect it. You know, so it was a shock and it was a surprise, and that was really put the nail on the head there. That's what
Right.
made it. You know.
Right.
All right, so next we go backstage, and Daniel Garcia runs into Jack Perry, warns Perry that he's next to lose his title. Which, you know what, I don't think that's improbable. I think that's going to be very possible. I think they're going to put a belt on Daniel Garcia, and that's the most likely target, to be honest.
So let me ask you this. Now, obviously, we see in the same segment um, the Young Bucks packing up, shredding papers and shit like that, right? And later on, in a couple of segments after that, we see them leave the show in a hurry. And I know we'll get to this. Like I said earlier, they're going to go where the Young Bucks will be the saviors. Young Bucks is leaving, and they're going to be off of TV for a good while. They could come back with another change to their characters, a different look, is my prediction. So they can come back as baby faces to help defeat the whole BBC bullshit that's happening. But this is my question. Are we seeing the Rainmaker, Okada, and Jack Perry? Are they going to be turning to baby faces too? Because they're part of, you know, their faction. And so what's going to happen here? It's just
You know what? You know who's going to put the nail on the head, possibly? Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega. Yeah, there's actually, and I didn't use it as news because I just read it 10 seconds before we started the podcast. But it's reported that Kenny Omega is going to be showing up at some promotion. So he's starting to make some appearances again. So I think that, yeah, I think that we're about to see them pull the trigger with Kenny Omega with the Young Bucks. And you're right. You're right. I see that happening. But again, why this storyline? Why the NWO storyline for them just to get to a rivalry between All Elite and BBC, right? It's
Well,
I don't know.
it could possibly lead to Jack Perry and Okada being ousted and having Hangman, Omega, and the Bucks back together as a group. That could possibly
I
again.
don't know about that. I don't know about the Hangman because I don't think Hangman Adam Page, even if they tried to turn him into a babyface, I don't know if they would be able to get the crowd to get behind him just yet.
Okay, so you're gonna tell me that if the BBC and whoever they can round up are having a beatdown on Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, and Hangman comes out, there's not gonna be a pop. There's gonna be a pop.
I don't know.
So, well, they didn't ever listen to us anyhow, so it doesn't matter,
Yeah,
Kev.
yeah. Don't know. Well, I guess we'll see if it happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, again, they never listened to our storyline, so what the hell?
No.
All right, so next we go to Monet comes out with Camille versus Starlander. Starlander wins. It was a decent match. At the end, Monet attacks Starlander, tells Camille to go into the back, and says, "If you want something done, do it yourself."
It's not Starlander. It's now you're making me forget her name. Hold up.
Stratlander.
It's huh?
Stratlander.
Yeah, Stratlander. This is the thing. If they're going to continue to book Camille to be this female monster, why in the fuck do you have her lose to Strylander, right? I get it. Strylander, she's a big muscular woman as well. I'm not saying that she's a small woman. But at the same time, if you want Camille to truly be this monster, you have to have her beat these bigger, muscular women to show that, well, she's just not a monster. She's wrestling the average size AEW female wrestler. She's a monster even when she's, wrestling against people like Strylander as well. You see what I'm saying? Tony Khan just doesn't know how to book shit, and he doesn't know how to build characters. He doesn't. I don't understand it.
Yeah, well, I really can't argue that. So we'll go on. So we have a vignette with Christian Cage and Kip Sabian. Um, it's just a recap of how things have been going the last 2 weeks, and I'll say 2 weeks because it has been much longer than that. Looks like Kip's gonna probably join their group, since they're one man down anyhow.
Yep.
All right, so then we go to an interview with Briscoe, challenging Learning Tree with 3-on-3, with Kyle O'Reilly, and I forgot the other gentleman's name. He's a pit bull though, a Japanese pit bull. So I think the following week is a 3-on-3 with the Learning Tree.
Yeah, you see my excitement for that match. Don't care about it.
All right. Then we got the Young Bucks running rabbit. The BBC attacks Young Bucks camera guy, I forget his name, while Mox holds the fallen angel.
Pulls a hammer out and hits his hand with a hammer, and they go off, or they go into I think it was been into a commercial with him holding his hand, and yeah, okay. Again, it's just another lead off to what's coming. It's predictable at this point with the Young Bucks, and they're going to be off TV for a few weeks and come back with this whole new look. Is what I'm guessing. So
yeah, but you're the kiss of death because whenever we have a good storyline, they don't do it. So you can forget about it. So anyway,
right,
let's go to Swerve versus Benjamin Shelton, which I thought
great
was a good
match.
match. I was really, really upset that Shelton didn't win. I like Swerve, but I love Benjamin Shelton. I really
See,
do.
this is what this, but Mark, this is what we're talking about. Okay, is Swerve losing going to hurt him? No. If you're going to book Shelton Benjamin once again as this amazing guy in the fucking ring who has this big future, who is a real contender, the very first time you put him with a real challenge, you book him to fucking lose.
Right.
So what does that tell you? Shelton Benjamin can beat smaller guys like he did the past 2 weeks, but when it comes to an athlete that's close to his size, that has been world champion, Shelton Benjamin at that point, he gave it his all, but he just came up short. That's just dumb fucking booking. Dumb booking.
Right. They got to understand, who's really going to get hurt on this.
Right.
Yeah, I understand they want to build up Swerve again, whatnot. And again, I think there's going to be a Swerve somewhere in the near future. And could it possibly be when he faces Bobby Lashley? I don't know. If he loses to Bobby, then I could see a Swerve. If he doesn't lose, then I don't see the Swerve.
All right. But this was even dumber, Mark. So, of course, the big thing too was Bobby Lashley makes his debut, right? Why in the fuck would you book the partner that the guy that's going to be Bobby Lashley's partner, Shelton Benjamin, to lose on the fucking debut of Lashley? it's like, to me, it would have been a bigger impact of holy shit. Shelton Benjamin just beat one of the ex-world champions of AEW. And then on top of that, fucking Bobby Lashley makes his debut. These guys are going to be unstoppable.
See, now
But
a better
no, that's
way to
not what they
put this,
did.
a better way to put this is if they would have had Bobby come out and interfere with the match. All right, that would have done nothing to hurt Swerve, and would help.
It would protect both guys.
Right. It would have helped Benjamin, but it wouldn't have hurt Swerve. You know.
Yeah.
But to have MVP call him up on the phone and say, "Come on out now," it kind of anticlimactic. You know. And,
It's like, what are they trying to do? Is MVP now the freaking Paul Heyman of AEW with the phone thing? You see what I'm seeing? You see how it's like these little nuances of I hate to say that they're trying to copy off of all of these other things, WCW and NWO, WWE with the bloodline, and Paul Heyman with the phone thing. But that's what it looks like to me, right? And it's disappointing because, as we both said, we are AEW fans.
right.
So I don't know, man.
Some of our shows, and they can get some ideas from us.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, all in all, I give it a C plus. What about you?
I'll go with a B minus just because there are some high spots in there that I liked. I think anytime Buddy Matthews is on a match, it's always golden. I think he's got all the talent. I think he's a Lance Storm with personality, but but he's got the size, he's got the ability. I don't know if he's got the look per se, but he's got the size and the ability easily.
Yeah.
In some ways, I think he kind of reminds me of Savage. I don't know why, but he does.
Yeah. Well, like I said, something needs to happen to improve AEW, and they need to try to come up with some original storylines. I understand with professional wrestling being around as long as it has, that it's damn near impossible to come up with original storylines, but you can add your own little things to these storylines to make them a little bit different instead of just being obvious where they're getting these storylines from. So I don't know. But Bobby Lashley making his debut in AEW last night, and that's what AEW went off the air to. So yeah, we'll see what happens on Dynamite next week. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget, a week from tomorrow on November 8th, Baby Doll is going to be on the show. Looking forward to interviewing her. Otherwise, like I said, Crown Jewel on Saturday. We're going to be doing a recap of Crown Jewel on Sunday. No recap of SmackDown Saturday, of Friday Night SmackDown on Saturday, just because of Crown Jewel. And then again, I have a live wrestling show to attend here in Minnesota on Saturday night. But Sunday, we will be back to talk about Crown Jewel to see what happens, if there's going to be any surprises. A lot of things happening on Crown Jewel that I mentioned seeing. But again, please subscribe to our channel. Other than that, anything for you, Mark?
Nope, just ring the damn bell.
Ring the damn bell. We'll see you guys Sunday.
All right, see ya.
All right, man.